Hey everyone, this is Josh for another episode of the Solopreneur Grind Podcast. I am happy to be joined by Ryan Cote, managing partner at Ballantine. Ryan, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Hey, Josh. Happy to be here. Excited.
Awesome. Can we start by jumping in? We were talking pre-show. You've got a few businesses on the go, but I'd love to hear, a little bit more about who are you? What are you spending your time on right now? What are the businesses that are taking up most of your time and attention?
Sure. I'll start on the personal front and then I'll quickly go to professional. Live in New Jersey. Um, Been married for almost 20 years now. Next year will be 20 years. Have three kids, three daughters at the time of this conversation, 14, 12, and 10. And so they keep me busy. They're off today, which I didn't know that when I scheduled this with you, but I threatened their life to be quiet. So, what else? I didn't really do that, but I did ask them to be quiet. So professionally, yeah, two things. You mentioned Ballantine. That's our family business that goes back to the mid 60s. Um, we have two divisions, direct mail and digital. I started out doing direct mail marketing for the business, and then we opened up the digital division, which I help do. And that's what my main thing is now is the digital side of the business. That's full time. We have employees and it's a combination of employees and subcontractors. The core base is definitely the employees, but we have some contractors as needed. And then on like my side business, if you want to call it that, I've had since 2011, and that's digital marketing for mainly functional medicine, natural healthcare practices. I have other clients, and it's a long weaving story over the last 14 years. But that's where I've settled on the niche. And for that business, it's all subcontractors. I don't have any employees. So like solopreneurship for that business. So I'll take a break there.
Awesome. Yeah. And I mean, the family business, usually my next question is, how did you get into that business? The family business may be a little self-explanatory. So maybe we'll
Mhm.
focus on the side business. How did you end up getting into that business?
So I've always had little things on the side. If you were a fly on the wall when I was in like high school, college, I've always tried different things. Some were didn't work at all, and some things I've had some success with. Um, and so I've always dabbled with like e-commerce, affiliate marketing. I actually still do a little bit of affiliate marketing today. Not like I used to, but it still drives some revenue. But affiliate marketing, e-commerce, taught myself SEO. And then back in 2010, I think it was, honestly, it was coming down just, I wanted to start my own thing. And I also wanted to make more money. I was actually working at a wine shop selling wine, part-time as a way to make extra money because we had just had a kid and things were getting real, as they say. And then I just had the idea, like one of the guys I used to work with, one of the owners, he was like very much in digital marketing and websites. And we would always like just chat each other's ears off about ideas and things like that. And I think those conversations sparked an idea, like I should start my own agency. And back then I just did SEO. And so I started offering SEO to clients, and like what it was then to what it is now, it's like totally transformed as I've just learned and pivoted and, the ebb and flow of business. But that's really the seeds that were planted is just wanted to make more money, wanted to at least dabble with something on my own. And then these conversations with one of the owners of the wine shop just gave me some ideas. And here we are talking to you now.
Absolutely. And that's why I usually tell people who are kind of on the fence, like, just get started, right? Because some people plan so much. And then what happens either way with almost every business is changes, pivots,
Oh,
adaptions, evolutions, et cetera, et cetera. So don't overplan because things are going to change anyways. That's interesting to hear. Ryan, can you talk
100%.
a little bit about like if people are interested, because you have the family business on the marketing and digital marketing side, you have your side business which is also SEO related. What do you think about the potential of that industry right now? Maybe for listeners who are interested, especially with what we're seeing now with AI and social media search and stuff like that. Um, what do you think about the SEO and digital marketing industry right now?
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think about it a lot. I think there's a lot of unknowns. um, you know, You can also use AI as an amplifier, coming up with content ideas, and some people even use it to write the content. It's not, you can't just publish. You have to like make a lot of edits to it, but there's ways to brainstorm and It's definitely made my team more efficient in terms of researching different things. But yeah, I think about that a lot. I mean, what is it going to take? I don't know if like, I don't know. Part of me wants to believe that we all crave like the human to human connection. So I think AI is definitely going to transform things, but that's like any business. You can think of major technology that came in and disrupted, businesses, and the ones that did well are the ones that adapted. And, so once AI came out, I mean, really in both businesses, we started diving deep into it. Like, how can we use this to make us better, faster, stronger? Like, why, like, why hide from it and be like, oh, it's not going to hurt us? We just dove right into it, figuring out how to use it. Um, I'm also a big believer of niching down. And so I feel like I don't know, like, I don't have like, obviously I'm just kind of guesstimating here what's going to happen. But I feel like if you're going to start an agency, and this is advice I give to people that ask me, is having a niche, because I feel like being a generalist agency, especially with AI and all these things, it's going to be much harder. So like if you have a niche, because it comes down to like, does the company that's hiring you, do they think they can help you? Do they think that you can help them? And so I think the niching down is really important. Like for my family agency, Valentine, our niche on the digital side is manufacturing. And then for my business, it's natural healthcare. So at this point, I've got, a lot of clients on both sides where we can prove that we know what we're doing. We can show them how we're using AI to help amplify their campaigns. And then there's that human to human connection where we're talking to them regularly. So, that's kind of my approach to it right now. Using it to our benefit and to my clients' benefit, and then, continuing to lean into the niches that we serve best.
Absolutely. And the way I like to think about that is like if you're going in, you have a heart, heart attack, whatever, you need heart surgery. Do you want the general surgeon or do you want the expert at heart surgeries? Right? Like it's kind of like an easy pick in that regard. So
Yes, that's why. Yeah, that's why nothing against pediatricians or like general doctors, but heart surgeons and neurosurgeons and brain surgeons and the ones that specialize, they make a lot more money than a generalist doctor. It's just the way it
for
is.
sure, a little bit more stressful maybe,
Yes,
but
that's for sure.
risk reward,
Yeah.
all that fun stuff. Awesome. So Ryan, if there's someone out there right now, they're curious about getting started, maybe in the digital marketing SEO agency, thinking back on the two plus businesses, because I know you have a few passion
Mm.
projects and others as well. What would you say are 5 key steps somebody could take right now to get a business off the ground?
Okay, I'm going to think about this one. 5 steps. Okay, so the first thing would be, we can go down to the basics. The website you're going to have, the company name, registering it as a corporation, LLC. Well, let me take a step. Let me go one step back further. Is the idea like what's the agency going to be? What are you going to serve? What service you're going to provide? Um, to who? Okay, that like the basic foundation of like, what are you good at? What can you help people with? What can you provide value? What value can you provide, and to who? Once you have that information, well, then it's um, what the company name is going to be, what the website is going to be. I like to map out like the different strategies, like how am I going to connect with people? That's another advantage I think of niching down is like it's easier to reach out to people. If you're trying to think of like who am I going to promote myself to? If you're a generalist agency, it's like the world, and that doesn't really work. But if you have a niche, exactly how to reach them. Where they hang out, Google Maps information, LinkedIn, all that stuff. You can really put together a way to reach them. So company information, all that stuff. LLC, it's very easy. Don't be, I mean, I don't know nothing. Well, yeah, you're a lawyer, but, I use a service to help register the LLC. It literally was like, it was some work, of course, but, there's services out there. Um, and then after that, it's really just like the marketing side of it. Like if I think back to my side business, I started off just talking to people that I knew, like you mentioned pivots and all that. Back when I first started, it was called a booster shot. I was offering like a one-time SEO optimization. Problem with that is you have to keep on like trying to find new customers. There's like no reoccurring revenue element to that. And I was super cheap, cause you're just starting out, you don't know what you don't know. And so I was just telling everyone who I knew about it. and I got some bites. And then once you get some bites, then you start to, pivot and adapt and change and all that stuff. Um, so there's the marketing side of it. And then I guess the last point, I don't think I'm at 5 because I feel like I've lost track of what number I'm at. But the last thing is what you mentioned about pivoting and whatnot, because you like, don't be afraid to start, because if I, if we did a podcast episode just about when I started to where I'm at now and all the pivots, I mean, it could be like a 2-3 hour conversation, from the pricing to who I was serving to the actual website, the domain, the company name, the niches, the packages that I offered, how I marketed, what worked, what didn't. It's like, you know, um, but it's fun too. You should enjoy it. And so don't be afraid to pivot. Don't be afraid to try new things. Not everything's going to work. Not everyone's going to say yes. Some clients are not going to be easy. Some clients are going to be great. And so just trying to learn from your experience and then adapt as needed.
Absolutely. And I'll quickly summarize. We got 4 really good steps there, at least that I conceptualized is, so number 1, think about the value you can provide and who you're going to provide it to. Number 2, set up the assets, the name, the website, digital assets, et cetera, et cetera. Number 3, start thinking about marketing and how you're going to market to them, starting with your network, which I really agree with, right?
Yeah.
Doing cold anything is so hard. So I always
Yes.
recommend exactly what you said. Start with who you know and work outwards from there. And then number 4, be flexible, keep your eyes open, adapt as needed, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that's great. Can you
Can I add
talk about,
fifth?
yeah, I mean, I
Can
asked for 5, so you still have that one slot.
well, your summary gave me time to think about one more because I don't want to end it at 4. Um, and this is gonna be true to your heart because I know you're big into technology. Is keeping your eye. I mean, I'm such a sucker for tools. I have like that, squirrel, shiny object thing. I try to keep it in check, and I do keep it in check. But I really, at the same time, I keep my antenna um, on for tools, AI, and it doesn't need to be AI. It could be any software. I am not afraid to test and spend money on tools and software that I think can help my clients, help the business, help us be more efficient, all of that. And that's AI too, but it doesn't need to be AI. There's plenty of other tools out there. So uh, this step would be just keeping your eyes open for technology that can help your business. That's been a game changer for me as well.
Awesome. Yeah, great, great point. Ryan, can you talk about what's been the hardest part of your entrepreneurial and solopreneurial journey?
Hmm. Um, I mean, I would say balancing it. No, I wouldn't even say balancing because at this point, I know how to balance the 2 businesses. I mean, my family knows I have the agency. And really the 2 of them really help each other. Like sometimes I'll carry ideas, and I'm not just saying this in case they watch this video. This is true. Um, I'll carry ideas from one business to the other and vice versa. And they're 2 different niches. So it's like they coexist very nicely. But, obviously the balance of like working at night, and sometimes I was doing work last night, late at night, but like I enjoy it. It's not too bad. I'm just conscious of how much time I put into it and being present with my kids. So the balance definitely is there. But I would also say this is kind of like a personal development type answer, but knowing when enough is enough, because I feel like maybe this is just how we're driven or how we're wired, but like, what is enough enough? If I look at like right now, even though the businesses do well, it doesn't feel good enough. But if I look back 10 years ago and I say, hey, this is where you're going to be in 10 years, I'd be like, holy cow, that's amazing. But now I'm here and it doesn't feel amazing, even though it is amazing. And so it's really just knowing when enough and trying to dial into when enough is enough. And that's a whole other topic I guess we can go into, but um, I think that's really important. I remember back when I was doing affiliate marketing, there were points where I was doing extremely well. And I remember I set a goal like, oh man, imagine if I hit like $500 a month. Man, that'd be so amazing. And then I hit 500. I'm like, that's nice, but man, 1,000 is like a really cool number. Then I hit that, it just kept on moving. So I guess the realization is that the goalpost is always going to move. And so you have to be present and be grateful for what you've got while still keeping that drive to keep pushing forward. Cause I feel like that's, achieving new things and trying to strive for new things. I think that's exciting. I think that's part of the human experience. So you can't lose that, but you can't be totally living in the future all the time because, you gotta be
Yeah.
present.
Yeah, I think that's the key, is staying present, because like you ask, you know, Gary V or Elon Musk, what is enough? And they're going to
Yeah,
say, 18 and a half hour days, blah, 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 8 days a week. But so I think number one, as you said, being present, and number two, realizing what is enough for you, because what's enough for you can be very different from what's enough for me and her and
so
him,
true.
et cetera, et cetera. But that's really great advice. I do want to ask because number one, it applies to me, and number two, probably a lot of listeners as well. You
Mm.
said that you have gotten into a good place in terms of balancing multiple businesses. Do you have one or two pieces of advice on how you do that well?
Um, well, I would say don't be afraid to work 7 days a week, but on the weekends, I don't work a lot. It's like 1 or 2 hours. I basically need to be super clear what I want to accomplish each week. And then if I have to use an hour or two on a Saturday, it doesn't matter because some days I'll work less hours during the week, but then I'm making up for it at night. So to me, it's having that flexible schedule, and being okay with sometimes I need to spend time on the family and then do things late at night or do things on the weekend. So having that flexibility and that open mindedness to do that is an important thing. Also, um, I really try to, and I know this depends on what stage you're at with your business, but I really try to only work on things that are going to move the needle. And I know, like, I think back when I started the business, that was not the case 100%. I was doing all the work. I was writing the blog posts. I was posting the blogs. I mean, I can picture myself right now sitting on my couch with my laptop, posting blogs for, back then I had like a handful of clients and I was like posting their blogs and things like that. And so, it's hard to really grow when you're doing all the work. So eventually you have to get subcontractors. That's really when my business started to grow, is when I had people to help me. And I know that's not like, holy cow, he's saying something that I didn't even think of, but it is true. Like when you start to outsource the work and find a team that you really can grow with, it makes all the difference. And so now I try to put myself in a position where I'm only working on big things that it's either connected to marketing or sales or strategy, like big things. Um, and I guess your to-do list feels less daunting when there's less things on there. They're bigger things, but they're less things. And so I don't know if it's like a I don't know, mind thing, but
Would you kind of summarize that into you focus on revenue generating stuff and you outsource more of the fulfillment? Is that one way to kind of
I would say
um
you said that better than my 3-minute ramble. I think I think like that, like if you follow what I was saying, that was basically what I was trying to say, what you just said in like 10 seconds. Yes, like the big rocks, the revenue generating items. And then I've got a team that I mean on both sides. For Valentine, we have employees. And then on my business, I've got subcontractors and I outsource the support, the execution. I'm heavily involved, don't get me wrong. Like I know what's going on, but I'm not doing the execution anymore.
awesome. This has been great, Ryan. Second last question is if there's a solopreneur out there, they're really liking what you're saying. Maybe they're in a 9 to 5, maybe they're thinking of pulling the trigger on a business, or they're just in the thick of things and it's tough, it's difficult. What's one piece of advice you would give to them to think?
Well, I mean, I'm just going to pull from my experience because I went through this. I could think back to 2011 when I started it. It was on the side. I mean, it still is on the side, but it was very small and I didn't know what I was doing. And so with the theme here, what we're talking about a lot here is not being afraid to fail and just getting started, because where you start is going to be very different than where you end. So, I mean, I've got one person that's in a mastermind I'm with, and he's trying to start this IT company, and overanalyzing the depth of this thing. And we're trying to tell him just get started because you're gonna make changes anyway. Like even the website. I'm still making tweaks to the website. It's never done. And so why not just get the ball rolling and start getting experience? And start small. Don't be afraid to fail. Things are not gonna always go your way. Some things are gonna work, some things won't. But things truly won't start to cement until you start taking action and getting the experience. Because you don't know what you don't know, but once you get some experience, you're like, oh, okay, well then I could try this. And that kind of that compounds over time and you just become a different person, a stronger person, but it doesn't happen until you start.
For sure. I think the website is like the biggest mistake that I see new entrepreneurs make. Because number one, no one's going to see it anyways. You're not getting
Right.
SEO on day two,
Yeah. Yeah.
and number two, like just spending so much time before you have those conversations, and like you said, it's an evolving kind of asset, anyways. Ryan, this has been great. Really appreciate you coming on the show. If people want to learn more about you or your businesses or get in touch, where do you recommend that they go?
I mean, I've got the 2 websites, like I mentioned, for the side businesses. I mean, for the 2 businesses. The first business with the manufacturing agency, it's ballantinedigital.com. And then for my business with the functional health practices, it's functionalmedicinesseo.com. So ballantinedigital.com and then functionalmedicinesseo.com.
Awesome. Ryan, thanks again for making time to come on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh. Appreciate it.